Let's start with a brief synopsis of the chapter 119 with supplementary information. They arrived at Denji's house. It is a common form of housing complex in Japan, and you can tell that it is not a very wealthy family. And here he explains the rules he mentioned in the previous chapter. My previous prediction was don't open the door, but here 3 rules are explained. As for 1 and 2, it's more like common sense than a rule. And the most important rule is no flirting with Denji in front of Nayuta. Also, for some reason, the number of times Denji and Nayuta parted was recorded. In response to Rule 3, Asa is a little angry with him for not doing that. Because Yoru's ability was a dud, Asa treats Denji a little coldly because he thinks Denji doesn't like him. Asa then cools down from saying too much to Denji and warns him that Yoru will one day take Denji's life if they stay together. As Denji asks himself in his mind, he begins to think about how he liked Asa a little and about his own smell. When Denji looks at Asa, Yoru, who has replaced Asa, kisses him. Then Nayuta returns from walking her dog, calls Yoru a thief, and shoots her in the forehead with a chain. This is a brief synopsis of the 119 chapters. Let's examine the details in turn. As for rules 1 and 2, it seems like just common sense. But there is a possibility that someone important may be living in the other room. Since Kishibe has not yet appeared in part 2, it's possible that he lives nearby in terms of keeping an eye on the control devil. As for rule 2, maybe it's because Nayuta is in control of the food. As we can see from rule 3, the control devil would be a possessive personality. Another possibility. Do you all remember the fake Chainsaw Man? This is the Chainsaw Man who supposedly killed Yuko. However, as for the fake Chainsaw Man, no one who seems to be the culprit has appeared in the story yet. If that was a real Chainsaw Man, where would Yuko's body be? I don't really want to think about the contents of the fridge, but I feel like I would be breaking all the rules since I went to the trouble of writing 3 rules. And rule 3 is no flirting in front of Nayuta. Denji's talking about her being a huge problem child with an extreme personality is probably referring to her possessive and restrictive nature. Incidentally, I would guess that Nayuta's current approximate age is about that of an elementary school student, given the presence of her school bag. Nayuta's character of not wanting to lose Denji, who is like an older brother to others, is strongly expressed in this rule. I also think Nayuta looks a little bigger than she did in the part 1. Her hair has changed to braids, and when she dyes her hair, she looks almost exactly like Makima. It turns out that Denji liked Asa. In other words, the conditions for Yoru's weaponization would probably have been met, but weaponization failed. This is something we predicted last time, but we think the cause of this is related to Nayuta's ability. The ability of Nayuta's domination is working on Denji, which is probably preventing Yoru's ability from being activated. He still didn't weaponize it, so Yoru now tries to weaponize Denji during the kiss. If you look at Denji's mouth here, it looks a little like he is refusing to close his mouth. This is probably due to defensive instincts from past kissing experiences. It is striking that Yoru's cheeks are red here. Asa and Yoru share the same senses, and Yoru has grown a little fond of Denji, too. To weaponize it, you have to name the weapon, but before you can do that, Nayuta came home from walking the dog. Angered by this situation, Nayuta uses her chain ability to pierce Yoru's forehead. The chain ability was also used by Makima, but not for physical attacks. In the case of the Makima, it could use the abilities of the bound partner or manipulate the target. Perhaps this chain attack is also not lethal, and even if it were, it would not be enough to kill Yoru, the fiend. I'm anxious to see what happens next, but that's all for this issue. See you in the next chapter.